What's up? I'm Justin. Welcome to Don't Disappoint Your Parents. We're celebrating the Lunar New Year by making some dumplings. Let's get cooking. One of the most classic foods we eat during Chinese New Year celebrations is dumplings. I'd eat these any day, but this seems like the best occasion to make them. We're going to start by rehydrating some dried shrimp. In a small bowl, add a tablespoon of dried shrimp and a bit of boiling water. Set that aside for 10 minutes. Next, we're going to mince a whole bunch of scallions, 7 to be exact. 7 scallions may seem a lot, but trust me, it's necessary to flavor the filling. Cut off the white part first, then split it in half and mince as thin as possible, and then mince the green parts. Move the scallions to a bowl and grate about 1 inch of ginger. In a bowl of a stand mixer, we're going to add about 1.2 pounds of ground pork, the dried shrimp drained of its water, 3 tablespoons of soy sauce, 2 tablespoons of Chinese cooking wine, 1 teaspoon of sugar, 2 eggs, 1 teaspoon of cornstarch, the scallions and ginger, and a generous amount of salt and pepper. Check your recipe to make sure you got everything before affixing the dough hook and mixing on high for about a minute until the pork gets to a cohesive, paste-like consistency. Move the pork into a bowl and loosen it up a little bit with a pair of chopsticks before putting it in the fridge to rest. Next, we're going to prep our napa cabbage. Discard any rotten cabbage leaves. Once the rotten leaves are gone, start breaking the cabbage down by peeling it like an onion. You only want about 3/4 of the cabbage. Save the rest for a sauté or something. Working in batches, poach the cabbage in a pot of boiling water for just a sec to soften it up. Add a generous amount of salt, mix, and squeeze the cabbage a little to get some of the juices out. Begin to chop up your cabbage before being stopped by Chen, who tells you that you are cutting the cabbage incorrectly. You need to have large but precise cuts, and that you need to work in batches and use a larger cutting board. Listen diligently and transfer your cabbage to a larger cutting board. At this point, my mom will come back and demonstrate how to chop the cabbage correctly, and you will do exactly, I said exactly, as she does. Large strokes, precise cuts. Chop vertically first, then horizontally. Transfer the cabbage into a large bowl. Next, take a ball of cabbage and squeeze as much cabbage juice out as possible. Repeat until you have no more wet cabbage. Season the cabbage with 2 tablespoons of sesame oil, a generous amount of salt and pepper, and a tablespoon of soy sauce. Finally, add the pork into the cabbage and mix until well combined. Now, you can make your own dumpling wrappers with hot water and flour, but honestly it's a hassle to an already labor-intensive dish, so I'm just going to use store-bought wrappers. If you want to learn how to make the dough, click the video in the top right corner now. There are multiple ways to fold a dumpling, but I'm going to show you 2 of my favorites. For an easier method, you're going to dip a finger in water and wet half the rim of the wrapper. Place about 1.5 teaspoons of filling in the center of your wrapper, and fold the wrapper in half, pinching the top together. Next, use your thumb and forefinger to pinch the sides of the dumpling together, creating a crease in the back of the dumpling. Finally, pinch the entire edge of the dumpling one last time to make sure everything is sealed nice and tightly, because you don't want these to burst while you're cooking them. For our second, more fancy method, we're going to add the filling and pinch the top same as before. This time we're going to make 2 folds on each side of the dumpling. Using a thumb and an index finger, we're going to push the dumpling skin against your opposite thumb to create a crease. Repeat that 3 more times until you get 4 beautiful folds in your dumpling. Of course, you could just pinch the edges together and just call that a dumpling, but those aren't as elegant as these are and won't stand up by themselves. Now that you know how to fold the dumplings, we're going to make all our dumplings until we run out of either the wrapper or the filling. Of course, dumpling making is something you do with family around the New Year's celebration, so I have my sister and my mom here with me. My sister, who's a total novice, improved her skills significantly with just a little practice. I'll throw up a picture of her dumplings. Now, we made 68 dumplings with a bit of filling to spare. Hopefully you don't eat all of them in one sitting. No judgment if you do, I definitely would if I could. So with the extra dumplings, we're going to freeze them in a tray and transfer them into a plastic bag once they're completely frozen. We're going to toss the dumplings we want to eat into some boiling water. After a bit of time, they're going to start to float. Add about a cup of cold water to lower the temperature of the water. This makes sure that our filling cooks completely while the wrapper maintains its chewiness. Once the dumplings float again, add another cup of cold water. Once the dumplings float for a third time, take them out. Finally, we're going to make some dumpling dipping sauce. Mix together 3 teaspoons of soy sauce, 1 teaspoon of sesame oil, 1 clove of crushed garlic, and 1 teaspoon of vinegar. After a long day's work, you're going to have some of the best dumplings you've ever had. We really love to make these around the New Year, not just because it's a tradition, but because it's kind of fun and relaxing. While it could be a lot of work for a beginner, these dumplings are well worth the time and effort for a little taste of home and comfort. Chen, thanks for being in this episode and helping me wrap these dumplings. Obviously, some of these, the uglier ones, are yours, but enjoy. Try it, taste it.
So, yeah, some of these look better than the others. This one's definitely
long.
Justin's.
Hey, I'm a tall guy, okay? I make tall dumplings.
What's the sauce?
It's soy sauce, vinegar, sesame oil, and crushed garlic.
The filling is good.
Filling's
very
good.
tasty. Mm-hmm.
I'll eat one of yours.
I love dumplings. They're such a good, like, classic meal. Why do we eat dumplings at New Year, Justin?
Because they look like gold, Chinese gold.
Chinese gold.
Yeah, they're gold. I'll put an image on the screen right now for those of you who do not know what Chinese gold looks like.
Money, not just gold. Chinese gold.
Gold.
Mm-hmm. Chinese money.
And for good luck.
For good luck. There's a really good dumpling place outside of my apartment in New York that sells 4 dumplings for $1. I think you could probably sell these for like maybe 50 cents.
You made them. We'll sell yours for 50
I
cents.
think we should set up a dumpling truck.
Yes, absolutely. Happy New Year, Jamie.
Happy New Year.
Now, for those of you who like Potstickers, here's how to make them. In a pan, add a tablespoon of oil and heat on medium heat. Add your dumplings in. You could use the fresh ones if you want, but it's actually better to use your frozen dumplings because they'll cook more evenly. Add about half a cup of water into your pan and cover. Let the dumplings cook for about 5 minutes or until all the water has evaporated and the bottoms of the dumplings are nicely charred and crispy. You really are looking for a slight char on these because that'll bring out a lot of flavor and ensure that your dumplings are crispy and delicious. Happy Lunar New Year. I hope you have health, wealth, good fortune, and of course, good food. I'll see you next week.